Hello, everybody. This is going to be a different episode today, unfortunately, due to some technical difficulties, some sicknesses. We figured we would, since we couldn't bring you a regular episode, that we would do something different. So I hope you enjoy this. Brett will not be on this episode unless he decides to come in with an editor's cue. And he is more than welcome to do so. But I hope you enjoy, as I have a special host with me to go through a really fun half an hour or an hour and a half block. So let's get into the episode. Welcome back to Dad's Meet World, your weekly nostalgia dive into the classic show known as Boy Meets World. I am one of your dads, Tyler, and with me this week is not dad number 2, Brett, but is in fact actually
Mom number 1.
Yes. So Sarah, my wife, she is returning today to help me bring in an episode that's going to be a little bit different, but still going to be fun, and it's going to be interesting to see how her and I handle this thing. But we're going to have some joy, and we'll just see what happens, shall we?
Hi, Brett here, dropping in with an editor's note. As Tyler said I might, I had a pipe burst right over top of my office/recording editing studio, and lost everything. Editing equipment, mementos, everything. And so we're in the midst of getting insurance claims filed and water damage taken care of. And so working on some workarounds to get back up to recording speed while getting that stuff taken care of. So hopefully we'll be back up and running next week. I think I've got some stuff figured out. But until then, thank you to Tyler and Sarah for recording this, and I had fun listening to it while I edited it, and I think you guys will enjoy it too. Have fun, and let us know what you think.
Yes.
So, normally this is the time where we just talk about what's going on, what's new. So, what's new with you, my wife?
Well, I've spent the last couple days with you, so nothing you don't already know.
Yes. So we are currently recording this after Christmas, but this should be coming out on Friday, so hopefully we can get everything all edited wise so we can do that. But yeah, we just had Christmas, and we've been spending a lot of time together and with our son, and we got baby coming, and
1 week.
All this fun and craziness, and our animals have been all over the place, and nothing but spoiled people in this household right now.
Spoiled people, spoiled animals.
Yes, spoiled people, spoiled animals. So we've just been nothing but blessed, and we're just really happy and excited that we can share some joy with the rest of the world. So shall we? Would you like to tell the good listeners what we were talking about today?
So instead of doing an episode of Boy Meets World, we watched the 90s hit Wonderful World of Disney movie starring Will Friedle, My Date with the President's Daughter.
Yes. So, Brett and I often throw around, well, that's a Patreon idea. That's a Patreon idea. This is legitimately a Patreon idea that we've thought about ever since the beginning when we started talking about doing a podcast. And so we thought that this could be a fun way to fill in an episode and also give our current listeners, the good people that you are, good looking people, the opportunity to hear what this could be like. Clearly it's a little different since Sarah's here and Brett is not, but still the same thing applies. So I guess we should start off with a little basic information about this made-for-TV movie. It is not available on any streaming platforms.
Not even Disney Plus.
Not even Disney Plus. We were very upset about that. But, it has its fans out there. I know there are people that love this movie. When we first started dating, I say, we talked about this movie in one of our first, conversations.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, we'd sing the song together, and we'd just giggle.
It's an iconic song.
It is. We'll talk about that, by the way. And so, this was originally aired on April 19th, 1998. As a made-for-TV movie directed by, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher almost all of these names, and I do apologize, but Alex Zam, and written by William Robertson. It has an IMDb score of 6.3, which for a TV movie is not bad.
No, it's really not.
Yeah, so it stars Will Friedle, which is why we're doing this, because he is Eric. And so we're getting to watch Eric, or in this movie, Duncan, which we're only probably going to refer to him as Eric or go back and forth. My apologies for that. And then co-starring with him is Elizabeth Horace? I think it's how you say it. My apologies for butchering it. Brett, if he was here, he'd be able to correct me. But she is in this. She is also someone who has an episode on Boy Meets World. She plays Missy Robinson, who is the girl who tries to tempt Corey away from Topanga the first time they go out. It also stars...
is that when Topanga is sick?
Yes, that's when Topanga has mono. Not mono, I'm sorry. She just has a flu. And
Sean drags him to a party in the basement.
which turns out to just be the two of them. Yeah.
Yep.
And they accidentally kiss. Mm-hmm. He tripped, and the only thing that caught him was her lips.
Her lips.
Yes. Which is a great episode. I can't wait for when we get to talk about this. So, but she did a really good job in this movie, I have to say.
Oh yeah.
So, it also stars Dabney Coleman.
Dabney Coleman, yeah.
Yep. You may know him from movies such as You've Got Mail, Tootsie, and he also voices the principal in Recess.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. He has 178 credits on IMDb.
Nice.
That is also, he plays the president, for the record. Jay Thomas, who plays Eric's father in the movie, he has 93 credits to his name. You may know him from The Santa Claus 2 and 3. He plays the Easter Bunny. He's also in
That's surprising.
Mr. Holland Opus, and was also in Murphy Brown.
Wasn't he Murphy Brown, or was he just a side character?
Murphy Brown, I believe, is a female, so I don't know. I never watched it. If you want to look that up, please feel free to. Yes. So normally when Brett and I are doing this, we both have things that we already have set, and things that we can't really grab. And Sarah's just I don't care. I don't have things I'm looking at. I'll look this up. Anywho, playing
so Murphy Brown is a female.
Yes, thank you. Playing the president's wife, the first lady, is Mimi Kayuski. I think it's how you pronounce her name. She's got a Z and a Y together. That's crazy. But you may find her from her 141 acting credits on Lost and Delirious, The Final Cut, and The Day After Tomorrow. She also plays a political person in that movie. Then last, playing Eric's mom is Wanda Cannon, and she has 63 credits to her name. You may know her from The Sixth Day, also The Final Cut, and The Secret Identity, My Secret Identity, this TV show, I guess. So yeah, so that's the IMDb, the main characters of concern. And so why don't we get into this movie, honey?
Okay.
How would you like to describe how this movie starts?
Sure. So this movie starts out with a girl sleeping in her room. Unbeknownst to us, it is the president's daughter. And she's being woken up by a housekeeper with a lovely outfit that looks like she's going to a funeral. And she's complaining about her day and why she doesn't want to be a part of it. So after the housekeeper leaves, she opens up her curtains and it cuts to the White House. Spoiler, she's the president's daughter.
Yes.
So from there, we cut to breakfast in the
White House.
The White House, the oval breakfast room. I don't know what the dining room would be called.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have done the White House tour.
We have,
and so we
yep.
do know that there is a public dining, like several different rooms that can be a dining room.
Right.
But we didn't see like into like the presidential suite or anything like that. So.
Right, which would be a more private residence
Right.
version. We just got the fancy, like, blue room,
Green room, that type of thing store. Yeah.
The Hall of Presidents, which is just basically paintings of all the presidents.
Yep. I will say that we don't know specifically what that lady's job is, because there's plenty of people that work at the White House with many different jobs, and it seems like she works primarily for the First Lady. So I'm not sure exactly what she actually does.
I mean,
but
I say housekeeper, but she could be like a house manager, almost like
Right.
like she manages the entirety of the house,
Right,
like
exactly.
making sure things run.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're clear that we're not sure what her actual job is
Right.
because they don't say anything, and if it's on IMDb as this lady does this job,
Right.
we're not wasting our time in that.
She's like the office manager for the house.
There is too much that happens in this hour
This
and a
movie is
half
redonkulous.
So yes, we spent a good amount of time understanding the dynamic, though, of the president and his family, and mostly that it's a re-election year, apparently. So they have nothing but fundraisers that they're doing and campaign events.
And basically, she wants to do normal things. She goes to an all-girl high school. She's asking her parents to let her go to an upcoming dance, but she can't because it's a fundraiser or a campaign event. And her dad's platform being family values. So how does it look if the president's daughter, only child, which, get it, same, doesn't show up to these events because she's not in on the family values.
Yeah. Well, and we've talked about this before with the dynamics being different of coming from a family where we have multiple children, we outnumber the parents, and you being an only child, how often was it, okay, family vote, haha, kid, you lose.
All the time.
Right. And for us, when we do a family vote, normally we wouldn't do a family vote. We would just be told, this is what we're doing, and you can riot later and complain later.
Right.
So yeah, but also like with 3 kids, we were just all wanting to go in different directions because we had our own things that we wanted to do. But yeah, we discover that she wants to be just a regular teenager, wants to do regular teenage things, and nope, we don't got time for that. We got an election to win.
And it's not just her parents who are telling her no. It's also
Right.
the campaign manager who tells her no, too.
There are many adults in this family breakfast area, personal space.
Yeah.
And that's why, I was also wondering, too, of, so are they not in, the personal area? Are they in more of a public-ish zone? Because technically, I believe there's supposed to be a space in the White House where, people respect the fact that this is their home and they need space, they need time, and, to not bug them immediately. But, hey, what do we know?
I mean, welcome to life at an office job. Everybody always bugs you
That's
when
true.
you don't want you them to.
That's very true. Well, when your office is right beside your bedroom, I guess it could be difficult.
It's true. It's true. Or they willingly let them in and
Yeah, that's true as well.
didn't set up boundaries.
Yeah, that's also what we're learning very quickly, is that this family does not have boundaries between work and family life. But also in the quote-unquote regular family, and that would be Duncan, the character's name is in this movie, but we're going to keep referring to him as Eric because why not?
Eric Matthews, yes.
So for Eric's family, even though they're technically the quote-unquote normal family, his dad still puts work above family, and he has
Says he works 6 days a week
Right.
later on in the movie.
so like he has like things that he's interested in that he can do by himself and entertain himself.
Right.
And you know, you get the feeling that like they don't spend a whole lot of time as a family together.
No.
Yes, I didn't listen to her off, but Eric does have a sister in this movie, and she is adorable and hilarious.
She is an aggressive eater.
Yes.
Every time she is eating, my favorite is when she, later on in the movie, when she ends up at the fundraiser in the president's seat eating the food.
Now, everything everybody does in this movie is aggressive.
Yes, they're like aggressively whatever they're into. Like not always aggressively fighting, but what they're into, they're really into it.
We learn that the vice president will be at this event that's going on too. We discover that the vice president has also a son, and he is kind of creepy and likes to hit on her in public.
Probably in private too.
Yeah, most definitely in private too. So this is a good time for us to talk about some sexism, misogyny, all those fun things. I don't know about you, but I was kind of grossed out by some of the ways that they treated a teenage girl in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely the 90s. Mm-hmm. And they were, I mean, it was the 90s. Mm-hmm. Before all the Me Too and all that. The world was a much different place whenever, not that guys were encouraged to hit on girls, but there wasn't as many boundaries.
Yes, that's what it felt like, is that there was less boundaries.
More guys trying to take advantage.
Yes, it definitely felt like several gentlemen were taking advantage of the situations they're in. Like in a few minutes, the vice president's son will come up to her and basically hit on her in public.
Right, in the middle of her dad's speech.
Yes. And then other times, other guys will kind of take advantage of the situations that they're in with her and either attempt to hit on, seduce, whatever wording you want to put it. There's a lot of grossness.
Right. Well, so I was reading, some fun facts to help with this movie, and her iconic pink dress that she wears, which, everybody loves, she couldn't wear undergarments under it because it's that tight.
That's gross.
Yes. So she had to be consciously aware of how she was moving while filming.
Yeah.
Because of how tight the dress was.
That's really gross.
Yes.
Well,
and it's a wonderful world of Disney movie.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I didn't look up her age or anything like that. But
She was 18 when this was.
Was she?
And
Okay.
Will Friedle was 21.
that makes sense.
So, I mean, legal, but.
Right. Well, the way they portray her character is more like 16, 17.
Yeah. Well, and I definitely think he says he's 17 at one point.
Right.
So.
I mean, 30-year-olds can play 18, right?
All the time.
Right.
All the time.
Oh, gosh. Grease lightning.
Grease and like half the other teenage shows.
Yeah. Well.
Don't tell me those kids on Riverdale are actually teenagers. I don't know no teenagers that look like that.
28.
Right.
Well, anywho, yeah. So I'm happy we have that a little bit discussion now because it's just repeatedly just kind of grossness, and also like the way that some of the adults talk to her, like Secret Service people, Dad's campaign manager, just the way that adults say things to her just really creeps you out.
Well, and also they like constantly talk down to her.
That as well.
Like,
and even when she's not in the room, they're talking down about her.
Yeah.
So,
and we'll get to later on when they're in the movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, But yeah.
Yeah. So why don't we meet Will Friedle's character?
Yes.
Duncan.
Eric Matthews. Prime hair Eric Matthews.
Yes. Everybody look at my head.
Yes. I just had to comment on he had his beautiful head of hair at this point.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's definitely like that season 5 hair.
Yep.
So, yeah, we meet Will Friedle, Duncan, or Eric, and what kind of looks like to be like an FYE type store.
Yeah, like a record game movie place.
Right. Place for the teens to hang out and get
at the time, it
need.
could have been Radio Shack.
That's true, but it's in a mall. And kind of Duncan's friends are giving him a hard time. Like, are you gonna come out? Are you gonna do anything? You gonna come to the dance?
And Duncan is aggressively doing magic.
Yes.
Like, not just like one magic trick. He is like repeatedly doing multiple magic tricks in the middle of this store. Like, he is very passionate about magic, apparently.
Yes, he is very aggressively doing the magic, which I am cool with, and his friends are not.
Oh no, his friends are jerks. They're telling him that, you're no girl's ever gonna go out with you because you do magic and magic's lame. Which, I mean, whatever.
Well, this is also around the time period where that whole magic, like tell-all, like the masked magician was out, and he would explain how to do tricks and everything.
Yeah.
How they're fooling you and everything. And it's like, yes, it's called magic.
It's
No
like
one
a
believes
sleight
it's
of
real.
hand. Yeah.
So, anywho, they're giving him a hard time, and he goes, yeah, I bet I could go ask a girl out. And we establish he goes to a regular high school.
And they make a bet.
Yeah, they make a bet, $50 bet.
For him to get a girl to agree with him to go to the dance with him.
Yeah. Now, we've seen in other movies where people make bets, like
She's All That.
She's All That, Not Another Teen Movie, another one with James Franco. I know. There's like a couple years.
You literally just said all the same things.
A couple of years in a row, they were like, hey, let's have movies where teenagers make bets.
Well, then there's now He's All That.
Oh, yeah, there's He's All That.
I've never watched
Which
that
we do
one.
need to watch that, because it's got that kid from Cobra Kai in it, so we do need to watch it eventually.
Right.
So, yeah, he walks out of the store, and he sees...
No, he walks out of the FYE and he goes on a quest to find.
Right, but he's in the mall on the quest.
Yes, and he sees a bunch of people.
Yes, a bunch of people.
Like, he sees like an old lady and then like a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Apparently, Eric doesn't have any girls from his school that he can just easily get a hold of after the fact. Like, he has to find a girl right now.
Right. Well, I mean, the dance is tonight.
Is that how they establish it, that the dance is that night? Oh.
The dance is that night. Like, so we're talking that they're at the movie. They're not at the movies. They're at the mall at like 10 noon, maybe.
I'd say closer to noon. There's no way.
1. And that they set up between. Well, she's already done a campaign, though, thing in the morning.
That's true.
I think we skipped the part where she. Well, to go back. So we've gone and met Eric's character.
Yes,
but
that's
she
true.
was at a campaign that morning. Her dad was giving a speech on family values, and his campaign manager is all like, "Make sure you talk about families."
Yes, he says, "Why don't I go out there and just say family, and that's it."
Yes, and so that is where the
hitting on happens.
the vice president's son, which we touched upon, and I think that's where we got distracted.
Yes, we do go away, and then we come back.
And so he hits on her, and after the speech is kind of over, she manages to escape from her Secret Service, and she goes to the mall. Because, I mean, if you're wanting to live a normal life, let's go to the mall.
Yeah. Now, let's
go to the mall.
I guess let's take this moment, though, to go... You would think that they would have a system in place of, like, you do this campaign thing, we let you do this. I know.
You're funny.
But, like, in our house with our son, like, we just did this at Walmart. We're about to go in there, and I said, if you're good and you let us get the things we need to get, which we're going to have to sit down and really look at a couple of stuff, I will then let you have a toy. We'll go do that. But you only can do that if we do this.
But you're bargaining with a 5-year-old.
I know, but, like, giving a teenager access to the mall seems a very reasonable thing to do.
I mean, it is reasonable, but we're also dealing with not a normal teenager. I mean, she is essentially a normal teenager, but she's not treated like a normal teenager.
Right. Well, it feels like they're locking her down and using the excuse of security.
Well, security, and we need to do other things. Like, we don't have time for your stuff.
Right.
You don't have time to have extra things.
You don't have time to be a teenager.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And you could imagine that when he was first elected, she was all about it and all into it because she was probably younger. And, all she cared about was making her parents happy. But,
Right. It's because if she's like 16, 17, she was probably like 12 or 13.
Right.
Just willing to jump on the bandwagon.
Just wanted to see her daddy become president. And now it's like, okay, you've been president. What else is new?
Right. Why does this have to affect my life?
Right, exactly. And every single teenager, from my vantage point, acts like that, no matter what. Like,
right.
I love all the teenagers I work with, but I'm telling you, this is a common interaction I have of, well, what is the benefit for me to do this?
Or why does it always have to have a negative impact on me?
Right, exactly. So anyway, we need to move a little faster because there's so much to get into in this movie.
So she's at the mall. He's going up the escalators, and that is when he sees her.
Yes. And I'm just going to skip through and just say he tries to hit on her. She thinks he is a store person and then realizes nope. And then he asks her out and she goes yes because a boy has noticed her.
Right.
And is giving her an opportunity to maybe be normal for a minute.
Right. Although I will add the caveat that this is where the lies start.
Yes,
from Eric.
lies start from both of them, I would say.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Yes, because she neglects to tell him that she is in fact the president's daughter. And he starts off with that bag full of magic stuff is from the sporting goods stores.
Yes.
And he's into rock climbing.
Yes, there's nothing more appealing to a teenage girl than a rock climber. So anywho, they both go home and they both say, hey, I have a date tonight. You cool with that? And Eric's dad's like, sure, take my car.
Take the station wagon.
Yes, take the nothing sexier ride than the station wagon. And also his credit card for an emergency.
But Eric ends up taking the BMW, which is his dad's company car.
Yes. And also, she goes back to the White House and says, I want to go on a date. And they say, absolutely not. And then she...
And it's not just her parents. It's everybody's opinion again.
Yes. I don't know. Would you say she kind of has like a temper tantrum? And the mom is like, hey, you need to give her a break.
Like, she basically says to her dad that why does his decision to be president have to affect her life? And why can't she have a normal life?
Yep.
And so basically then the mom's a reasonable mom and says, Secret Service is going to be there. Just let her do this.
Let her have a night.
She's a teenager. Let her have some fun.
I do love that, as we move forward, you have Eric driving up, and he's like, all right, on Pennsylvania Avenue. And he's like,
1400, 1500.
And he gets to the White House like, oh, she stuck me up.
I wonder if there's a Pennsylvania Avenue South, is what he kept saying.
Pennsylvania South. And you have to wonder if a girl lives in D.C., if they've done that to him before.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Like,
if he's tried to ask out a girl before,
or it's just something that girls will do to be like, oh yeah, this is where I live, and it's like, no. And it's like how he gets.
Did you not remember that from 4th grade because I knew that 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is where the White House is.
You mean 1500?
1600.
I thought you said 1500 in the movie.
1600.
Okay, whatever. I don't know. Anywho, he gets to the gate and he's just like, is there a south?
Is there a Pennsylvania Avenue south?
And they're like, we're waiting for you. Let's just go through, and he's trying to explain where to go.
Fun fact, the gate guard in this scene is actually the son of a president. So that is Ron Reagan, I'm assuming the second, who is the son of Ronald Reagan, one of our nation's president, also an actor.
I would say following in his dad's original footsteps of being an actor. Very nice. Yeah, so we get there, and he starts getting grilled by Secret Service people. Probably the chief of staff, overseeing everything and being like, this is the rules, these are the things you need to understand.
Right. And then...
He does meet the president.
Yes. Do you want to meet Daddy? Do you mean the president?
But he's very respectful.
Oh, yeah.
At no point does he go, I'm too cool for this, whatever. We learned pretty quickly that
Duncan's a good kid.
Yeah, he's a nice kid. He's starting to make some poor choices.
Right.
And it's clearly he doesn't normally do that.
Right. He is intimidated by her.
Yeah.
And so that leads to some poor decisions, some lies.
Well, he wanted to impress her because she's a beautiful girl, and he was trying to show that he's a bigger deal than what he is.
Right. So, but overall, he comes across as a good kid.
Yeah, and this is for the record. If you're under, if you're not married at this point, just word to the wise, just be yourself. The more you lie, the more you'll have to explain those lies. And so just don't lie when you're trying to impress someone. Just be yourself. And if they're not impressed by you, they're not the right person.
Exactly.
So trust me, the right person will be impressed by the things you do.
Or they'll tolerate you. Just kidding.
At first they'll be impressed, and then eventually it turns to tolerating. Yes.
I love you.
Yeah, whatever. I love you too.
Welcome to our relationship.
Yes. So we discover that we didn't mention this before, but there is a fundraiser that night, which she's supposed to be at, but they said, let her skip it, go to the thing. We'll just go to the fundraiser. It'll be fine.
Nobody's going to miss her.
Right. And then Eric's parents are also going to a company party.
Well, the party is at their house.
Is it?
Yes, because in the middle of the party, that's whenever he discovers
that's
the
why
BMW is
they're
missing.
able to. Yeah, they take the car. Okay, that makes more sense.
So, but while he's there, they're given a list of approved places that they can go.
Yes, movie theaters, specific restaurants, and
none of them are the school dance that he wants to go to.
Yes, so they have to find a way because she also wants to go to this dance.
Maybe.
And, they make it clear she wants to go out, she wants to have fun, and school dance could be fun.
Right.
However, they're out and about in adult world now, and so if they could go to a club instead, that could be more fun.
She makes a lot of poor choices,
yes,
too.
which, again, maybe this is just a 90s thing, but how many clubs let in high schoolers?
Yeah, I don't... Is it like...
Boy Meets World does this, and it always bothers me.
It's true. Boy Meets World does do that.
There's teenagers and adults in the same place dancing. I can understand there being a specific teenage club.
Well...
hangout,
I mean, they could do, 18 and older type thing. So they might be able to get away with that. Different colored bands for people who... are 21 and older. If you have your ID, don't have your ID. I mean,
we're missing the fact that this is a pretty girl and she can get anywhere she wants because it's the 90s.
Right. And let's be real, we grew up in very small towns.
Yes, very small towns.
So the closest club places were a good drive for us.
45 minutes, and
yeah,
it wasn't worth it by the time you get there.
Exactly. So, not necessarily the type of things that we would have ever experienced as teenagers.
We grew up in areas where it's hey, we're going to have a bonfire. Oh, why have a bonfire?
What else
we're
are you gonna
having a bonfire. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So do you need some wood?
No.
We were not invited to a lot of those parties.
We were good kids.
Anywho, so they're at the movie theater. And we have a lot of going back and forth between the different parties and their date, and so we're just gonna focus in. And if we miss a couple of things, we miss a couple things. So much happens.
There is a lot that happens.
So they are at the movie theaters, and do they sneak away during the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
So like the movie is going on, and it's this weird sci-fi movie. It's a real movie, apparently.
Yep.
I don't remember what it's called, but this is real weird sci-fi movie, and the one Secret Service is in the background, like not having it. He is not enjoying this movie. He's like, ooh. And the other one's just laughing, and they're sitting there watching the movie. Then all of a sudden, Hallie, whatever, however you say her name, the president's daughter, grabs a hold of Eric and pushes him down on the floor in what looks like a very risque manner. Mm-hmm. And the Secret Service, instead of like, I don't know, checking on them, doing anything, they just make a comment about, oh, he's going to need the protection from her, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of slut-shaming just a little bit, it felt like.
It's not great.
No, but also, like, as people who have overseen youth...
Right. They're underage.
Right. So, like, technically, if... like... I would assume
if you're
that the president would have had a conversation of like making out is a no.
Right.
Don't let them do it.
Like, you're watching them. It's not like you're just an innocent bystander. Like, you're literally responsible for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also, like, I forgot we didn't mention this, but on their date, they're in the back of the car with them.
Right. Eric's driving, and Hallie's in the front seat, and Secret Services are riding in the back of that BMW.
Yeah. Not very romantic.
No.
But they sneak away.
But this also, in the car is where he tells, important plot point, that he is a black belt.
Yes,
in
black belt.
karate.
Mm-hmm.
And that is an
Another
important plot point for later in the movie.
Yes.
And even one of the Secret Service laugh at him.
Yes. So they sneak away, and they decide they have to go shopping because clearly they can't keep wearing what they're wearing.
They don't decide. She decides.
Yes. A lot of they decide is really her saying this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Because she doesn't want to just look nice. She wants to look hot.
Yes.
Because it's the 90s.
Well, she keeps getting put into very conservative clothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And again, it's not that uncommon for a teenager to want to express themselves
Right.
via their clothing. And if she's going to an all-private school, all-girl
school.
private school, which is this is what they say, she's probably wearing a uniform. So she doesn't get to pick what she wears for school. She doesn't get to pick what she wears for for events. She probably has specific clothes that she is allowed to wear even at the White House because there's people around. So it's not like she can really
express herself.
Right, she can't express herself the way she needs to.
Yeah.
She doesn't have an outlet.
Right.
And so she's deciding that she's going to use this moment to wear whatever she wants, and apparently it's a
very risque.
And
I mean, it's an iconic dress, for
our generation.
For our generation, yeah. But it is very tight.
Yeah, and it's even more upsetting the moment you told me that she couldn't wear
undergarments.
That's very upsetting.
Yeah. So she gets her iconic bright pink dress.
We should also just real quick say that some of the music cues they use for this teenage girl is also really disturbing.
They're gross.
Like, it's not great. I mean, there's still love I have for this movie.
Oh, yeah,
But, like,
but-
there's just certain things that I go, as a grown adult, I don't approve.
I cannot condone this.
Yes. It's like, I don't know.
So
Okay.
then she also makes him get an outfit.
Yes, he gets a new outfit, mostly just cool.
No, it's a whole outfit because that shirt underneath is different too.
You know, but I'm just saying, like, the big thing is that he gets a leather jacket.
Right.
Which, just, okay, again, she has a super, super tight dress on. Only the dress.
Mm-hmm.
And he's wearing a new leather jacket.
Yes.
And he drops down $730.
$730
for the clothes
on
they're wearing.
his dad's emergency credit card.
Uh-huh.
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 Because you have a credit card, right? Oh, yeah. Poor choices.
We have never spent that much money at a department store just dropping.
I mean, not for clothes, no. I mean, maybe for, like, specific items.
Like big items,
Yeah,
yes.
like big items, yeah, no.
Like IKEA.
IKEA, like, things like that, yeah. For, like, furniture. I don't even think, like, when we both bought muck boots, like, that was only, like...
No,
There's only like $200 or some dollars. Like there's
not
nothing.
less than that. You know.
Yeah,
But no, like they're dropping like
$730 on a dress, maybe pants for him, shirt, and leather jacket, and it's on sale. Maybe her shoes too.
probably
Yeah,
I would
but,
imagine
like,
that her
we're
shoes-
talking-
maybe even his shoes too. Honestly,
But
like,
we're talking like a grand total of like 5 or 6 items, and $700.
that's like walking out with our bed frame and the dresser set we got alongside of it.
Right. Yeah, but you know, those last longer.
Yeah. So, anywho, so they decide that they're gonna go again. She decides they're gonna go to a club.
Well, she drives.
Yes,
Yes.
she asks, "Can I drive?"
Can I drive?
And he
And-
says, "Sure."
And while she's driving, they
yes.
pull up to a red light, and she gets into.
Well, she gets catcalled
Yeah, she's called out,
from
catcalled.
grown men hitting on 16, 17-year-olds.
Yes. And then she threatens them with her black belt
date.
boyfriend, yeah, that he claims to be. And she has to speed away. And she was like, well, you said you were a black belt, but I'm also a pacifist.
I mean, that's probably true. That's like the most true thing he's said so far.
But
to
except
her
for
is
he's not a black
pacifist.
belt. But
No, he's a pacifist for sure.
yes. So they go and they hide
Yep.
in this club.
In a club.
It's called Club Alien, and it was mentioned earlier in the movie by Reed, the vice
Yes.
president's son.
Yes, Reed is also there.
Yes, and Reed has also ditched his Secret Service.
Yes, which apparently this Secret Service is not good at
They
their job
suck.
if they're constantly getting ditched like this movie is showing.
Right. Like, literally everyone ditches their Secret Service in this movie.
Yeah.
Including the president. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, there's plenty of movies we've watched over the years where there's someone specifically on the president's daughter, and they have not gotten away from them, including dating them at one point.
Chasing Liberty.
That's what I was thinking about. So anywho, while at the club, they run into some guy.
Reed.
Well, they run into Reed, but then they also run into...
So the Steve, the motorbike
Yes.
guy, who they saw right before when they got out of the clothing store, she
Yes.
saw him drive by.
Yes,
And they
yes.
made like eye contact. But we also establish way back towards the beginning of the movie that he was in that FYE store. Mm-hmm. So Duncan and his friends know him.
Yep.
Not in like a good way. Like they know he's bad news.
Yep.
So he also runs into them.
Yes.
And at the club is where Duncan calls his friend's super 90s cell phone.
And makes another poor choice.
And he tells them that he has the president's daughter with them and he's bringing her to the dance. So they up the bet to $100.
Yes. Which, I don't know about you, but unless it was like my birthday, never had any of that amount on me whatsoever.
Not until I was working as a teenager.
Right.
But then that was always in my bank account.
Right.
Like,
it's not like you just pull 100
Right.
out immediately and not get questions asked about it.
right. And my bank account that was connected to my parents' name because I was under 18.
Yeah, exactly. All of these logistical things,
Right. They would know.
Yeah. Unless his chores are like he's really loaded in that business.
I mean, maybe they're rich in DC. I don't know.
But anywho.
So while they're at the club, their friends come by.
Yes, the guys that was catcalling her were threatened, and they also ran away from, they're hiding from, stumble in.
And she pretends that Reed
Is boyfriend, yes.
is the boyfriend, is the black belt.
Yes.
So she ditches, and the vice president's son
Gets beat up.
gets beat up
By grown men.
by grown men.
Again, he is a teenager, and he gets beaten up by grown men. It's not looking good for the adults in this world that they've set up.
No.
No. So then they leave, and they get back in the car.
He is driving
Yes,
now.
he's driving now, but they get a flat tire, right?
Yes. And so he is fixing the flat tire in some shady area of DC. And she wanders into a bar.
Yep. Not just any bar, a biker bar.
A biker bar.
Why not?
Yeah. And
Seems like a safe place for a teenage girl to go to with no garments on.
but she doesn't really seem to have much moral standing right at the moment.
I don't think she has understanding of stranger danger.
No. I think she's gotten very used to her bubble of being protected.
Yes, that's exactly what this whole movie insists on.
Like, her parents, as the president and first lady, have not prepared her for a world where she doesn't
have consequences.
Yes, she doesn't understand consequences. She also doesn't understand the danger because she's always protected.
Right. Well, and if her father's a career politician,
She's always had bodyguards.
right, she's always had some form of a bodyguard.
Right. And she probably always will for the rest of her life.
Yep.
But as a parent, you still need to
Prepare them for some.
establish the consequences, the danger of things,
Yep.
choices, not just,
Yes.
you're safe because you have somebody with you.
Right. So she goes to the biker bar, and
I don't
know really what
she's
was-
playing pool.
yeah, she's playing pool, and I don't even know what happens because, spoiler, part of this movie I was watching, I was trying to entertain my son, so the wife could watch the movie at the same time. So I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Oh, I know. She's playing pool, and he comes in and tells her, okay, we need to go. And then the bikers are like, well, maybe she doesn't want to go.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Trying to act tough. And I'm a little confused on how they started doing magic.
Well, I think he said, as my last wish, could you
Oh,
pick
yes.
a card?
Could you pick a card? Yes.
And
What are your last words? Could you pick a card?
Yes.
And so he dazzles them with his sleight of hand.
His aggressive
magic.
but
Yes.
they love it.
So he starts with just the card tricks, and then he has to do the card tricks again.
Yes.
And then we move into handcuff tricks.
Yes.
Because who has handcuff? Probably the bikers do. Let's
Yes.
be real.
But yes, he dazzles them with his aggressive magic. They go back outside. Car's gone.
Oh yes, but the bikers love their magic.
Yes,
and,
the biker. Probably the best part of the movie is the bikers
love
loving the magic.
And then the BMW drives drives away.
Yes. Now, at this point, the parents are together.
Yes.
Because the Secret Service revealed that, hey, she ditched us.
So they sent for the president and first lady sent for the Fletchers.
Yes.
And right before they got called in by the Secret Service is when Mr. Fletcher realizes that Duncan has borrowed his company BMW.
Yep.
And he wants to keep it a secret from his boss. Spoiler alert, his boss is at the party and finds out when the Secret Service come to collect them.
Yeah. So anywho, they're together, and the president decides, well, I'm going to go look for myself. And
Well, Mr. Fletcher decides he's going to go.
But basically, the dads decide that they're going to go on their own adventure to go find them, and they also slip the Secret Service.
The Secret
Now,
Service.
Can I just say, if a president of the United States leaves the eyesight of any Secret Service members, I'm pretty sure that person gets fired.
Well, the head of the Secret Service is with them half this time.
Yes. So he should... Technically, normally the head of the Secret Service is also the person that is most often with the president.
Right.
So technically, that guy should also get fired.
Right.
Anywho, not the point. The real point is that...
But side note, this is where the daughter is aggressively looking for food at the White House.
Yes, that too.
And complaining she's hungry. And she ends up at the fundraiser.
Yes.
Sitting at the table and eating.
Yes. So... yes. So the car gets stolen. They end up hopping on the bus so that way they can go where they need to go.
And so when the president and Mr. Fletcher are driving, they
see the BMW.
but don't they do something before this?
Well, they do catch two teenagers that looks like them.
Yeah, they
and
went to the mall.
They have
That was
almost
it.
the same exact outfit on.
Yes.
Which they wouldn't realize of that. But anyway, they look similar
He had some subpar luxurious long hair. It wasn't great.
No, it was not the full Eric
It was not the full Eric Matthews hair, but he had some subpar luxurious hair, the
Yes.
kid at the mall, and he was making out with a teenage girl.
with blonde hair. So clearly
blonde
it
hair.
has to be her.
Yeah, so
Yes.
they...
But then after that, they leave there and they're kind of just driving around. They see the BMW
and they go on a
speed after to chase to get it, and then they get pulled over.
Yes.
And the president goes, "Let me handle this."
And they end up in jail.
Right. Which, whether they're actually in physically DC or not, because they could be outside of it in Virginia or Maryland. The fact that someone wouldn't recognize the president
Right.
is kind of
Especially,
ridiculous.
I find it particularly hard to believe, like, we're assuming, I prefer to assume they're Capitol police officers, so
Right.
DC, even, like, just over, just outside the DC limits, you don't know what the president looks like?
Right. Honest to goodness, all of us right now who are listening, close your eyes and just imagine, picture in your head the last 5 presidents. Guess what? We're all going to see the same exact faces.
Exactly.
And especially if it's almost to the end of the first term president, there's no way everybody would not know who this person is.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't question it more at the very least.
But
he's just kind of like, nah.
Yeah. The whole point is that the dads need to fail in order for their date to continue.
Yes. So they're sitting in jail, and the president does
He's allowed to make a phone call.
and he makes a phone call to the Secret Service, the head of the Secret Service.
Yeah.
So while they are sitting in jail, the children are still out and about.
Yes. They are kind of wandering around and they stumble upon some musicians on the street.
Yeah, they kind of are just, no, they stumble upon the protest outside of.
That's right. I keep forgetting about
the
that.
fundraiser isn't at the White House.
Right.
It's somewhere else.
They stumble upon the protest and
outside the fundraiser.
The daughter starts defending the president.
And Eric Matthews is trying to, seek forgiveness in hopes that if the president sees the TV thing,
he's a very
forgiving man.
Very forgiving and generous man.
Yes. And the daughter's fighting with a woman about
some sort of policy thing.
policy.
Something that they're upset about. Who knows why they're upset? All we know is they're protesting the president,
exactly.
I guess.
And so the Secret Service realizes that they're out there.
Outside, yep.
And so they book it.
Yep.
Away from the fundraiser and the Secret Service.
Yep. When they end up on like a rooftop, apparently.
Yeah, they end up in a random part of DC. There's some like street musicians.
But they start dancing. It's a really cute, nice romantic comedy moment.
And like side caveat, Eric has spent this entire time badgering her like, oh, we got to get to the dance. We got to get to the dance. We got to go to the dance. We got to get to the dance. Mm-hmm. And he does it once again. We got to get to the dance. And she's kind of like, what's the point? At this point, it's going to be practically over. Mm-hmm. Like,
yes. So Eric confesses to the fact of, well, I made a bet with my friends, and then she loses it and is like, all you've been doing is lying to me. I'm just some bet to you. And she runs away. Because
he does admit earlier after the magic thing that, he's really not into that stuff. He did it to impress her, but he really does like magic.
I'm not really sporty.
Right.
I'm not into all the things I told you I was.
And she understood that to an extent, so she, had accepted that. And she even said, well, I guess that's later.
But, I mean, essentially they get to a place of admitting to kind of some of the faults, and then his bet just was one step too far.
Yeah.
And not every woman is forgiving and kind after they find out there's a bet involved in a relationship.
But you weren't in the bet. People were betting on us.
I know.
Just as a sidebar, our friends at camp where we worked had a bet, a milkshake bet on whether or not we would start dating by the end of the summer.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to you guys.
Yes.
You'll probably never listen to this. It's okay.
I don't even... Did they get the milkshakes? I didn't get a milkshake.
We should have gotten milkshakes.
It was about us, so why didn't we get milkshakes?
So anywho, they get into kind of an argument. She walks away. He chases after her, but dun dun dun.
Here comes Steve, motorcycle boy, because he is actively following them.
I'd probably say so, yeah.
Being a creeper.
Yeah.
Stalker.
He takes her and goes away. And he goes, yeah, there's a party at my house. You want to go to it? And she's like, yeah, that sounds great.
Eric's trying to be like, no, don't go with him. He's bad news. I know him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, this should be said, if you are young, never ever get on someone's motorcycle and go to their home.
Also, stranger danger.
Yes, understanding that not everybody can be trusted.
Right, especially as a 16 or 17-year-old girl. Like, as women, we have to take an extra precaution to protect ourselves. And, I mean, like... women power, like women standing by women. I know that like a lot of women will protect other women, but if you're in a situation where you're not with any other women, going with somebody you don't know is not.
Yep.
It's not a safe decision. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah. Well,
she would have been safer to go find a group of girls and be like, hey, I need your help.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. Well, and that's the whole thing is that like they're on this date all by themselves and they don't even know each other. So technically, Eric is really a stranger to her still.
True.
So,
but like, don't go with the lesser stranger either.
Yes. So at this point, we should say that all the parents are back together and they're at the White House officially.
Yes, they have been bailed out of jail.
Yeah, and the moms are kind of
Bonding. The
and
dads are bonding.
Yeah, and so it takes this weird turn after being in jail.
Yeah.
Where like the dads are kind of like, hey, at this point we just have to wait for them to get back and trust that we've raised them right.
Right. And the Secret Service is still out looking for them.
Yeah.
But like, what can they do?
Right. Exactly. And the moms
Because they've gone to. The Secret Service has gone to the dance because
oh my god, the moment that you see the friends dancing with girls and then you see two Secret Service men.
I think they're the two Secret Service men who were at the movies
I think
with
so
them.
too. They're hilarious.
They're slow dancing together on the dance floor.
You
like,
see anything? Nope. Okay. Let's just keep
going.
Maybe they secretly are in love with each other. Who knows?
Hey, it's fine. It's just funny because they're actively looking around, like.
But they're slow dancing with each other.
They're slow dancing, but they're kind of aggressively slow dancing.
Yes,
like,
everything is aggressive in this movie.
Like it's not like just a slow dance. Like they're purposely moving around the dance.
Yes,
floor.
they're not going in circles. They're like going
aggressively.
Yes, aggressively moving throughout the dance floor. So then she rides to the guy's house aggressively
on his motorcycle,
and she gets there, and he's like, "Yeah, it's nicer on the inside."
Spoiler alert: it's not.
But there is a full-blown party going on inside.
Yes. And he is being a skis ball.
Yeah, he immediately starts trying to hook up with her.
Yeah, he's trying to kiss her neck, kiss her.
Yeah,
and she's asking him to go slow, like please stop.
She's trying to set a boundary of, hey, I think you're cute and I'm curious, but like let's just dance and let's have fun, but let's not have that type of fun.
And he says he'll go with it, and then he doesn't.
Yes.
And he is aggressively a creep.
Yes. And he is
worse
by
than
far the
Reed.
worst character in this movie because he does not listen to her.
We forgot about Reed, who got beaten up.
Yeah, he's fine. Who cares about Reed? After that scene, he disappears.
No, he shows up. He talks to the...
I know, but like what?
But my favorite part of that point, whenever he comes back up, is, wait, you were out without your Secret Service?
They're like, how many people keep slipping out of the Secret Service?
I mean, essentially, he doesn't help except to fuel the fire back before the dads.
That's when the dads are like, well, if people keep slipping away from them, so can I.
Yeah. That's back before the dads leave, but...
So anywho, we're at the party, and at this point, Eric Matthews is going through every single person in the phone book.
Steve, whatever his last name is, looking in the phone book for all of them.
Finally, he finds them. He pulls in on his little moped that he stole.
But he has, he stops at like old people's houses.
Is there a junior present? No.
Is there a Steve Jr.?
So, there was conversation about him being a pacifist and not wanting to be aggressive. And he stands up to someone that's clearly bigger than him, someone that's stronger than him.
And clearly someone who's, I'm thinking
probably older,
bullied him,
most likely.
beat him up before, someone who has actively tormented him.
If
probably.
he was an upperclassman when he was like a freshman, probably, so he could have like 2 to 3 years bigger than him.
Right, somebody who's definitely tormented him at points.
Yeah, so he definitely stands up to, and even knocks him out.
To protect Hallie.
Yeah, and so they get onto his white steed, known as the
stolen moped.
Yeah, stolen moped, and they go off in the distance to the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah, and this is where they sit down and they have a conversation,
like a real, genuine conversation.
Right.
Let's stop with the BS. Let's
stop with the lies.
Right. Let's just have a good time together and let's just talk.
Yeah, and they talk, and he admits to his lies to impress her, but she also then admits to, hey, I didn't tell you who I was because I didn't think you would go out with me.
Basically, they were like, I'm insecure. I'm insecure too.
Right. And they just kind of have fun getting to know each other and kind of recognize that she didn't need to have this complete wild experience in order to
have a memorable night.
have a memorable night. And they kind of, establish a friendship, like building on a relationship.
Yeah,
but they both recognize that they're going to be so grounded.
Right. They walk away, and you can tell that both of them appreciated the other one.
Right.
And if there's a chance for something in the future, great. But they're not banking on it. Like, they're not, like, desperately going to hope for it.
Right.
But then they both go home.
Okay, so just a little bit annoys me is they're clearly there at sunrise. But when she shows up at the White House, everyone says goodnight to each other. Or, like, mostly the president sends everyone away with good night. Because she comes into the White House and he heads back to his house, and it is clearly sunrise.
Well,
and his parents, ask where he is, and she said that, he's...
he went home.
He went home, so they go, okay, well, I guess we'll go... Guess we'll go get him there. And they say goodnight. And the sister is complaining about being hungry again.
Can I tell you my guess of why that is?
Sure.
So my guess is that they probably didn't have that shot yet in front of the Lincoln Memorial because they didn't know if they get the permit for that.
Possibly.
Because that was probably filmed after the fact.
Right.
Because a lot of the filming they did was in Canada.
Of course.
So probably all the inside stuff was that, and maybe the one real shot of them doing something was at the Lincoln Memorial. And so they only really had it for a small time period, and they were like, hey, we got permission, we can do it, let's do it. And so they were like, it's a made-for-TV movie.
That's true. I mean, standards.
Yeah.
But anyway, so...
Yes, but they say goodnight, and they make, like, the president makes it clear because someone, I think campaign
manager and the head of the Secret Service jump on her, like,
immediately.
Immediately, like, the head of the Secret Service is like, do you know how much money you've cost the taxpayers tonight? And the campaign manager is going on about how much money is going to be lost for the campaign because her dad couldn't be at the fundraiser the whole time because of her. And the president just is like, no. Good night. You need to go. This is a family matter, not a matter of state.
Yep, exactly. And that's
which is something he never it didn't seem he established before.
Right.
That boundary.
Well, and it feels like he kind of allowed them to say, well, it's for the presidency. It's bigger than us.
Like he was giving them a voice in their family.
Yes.
When he needed to establish a boundary of like, no, this is my family stuff. You can't speak about it.
Yes, exactly. But also we get the feeling because the dad, Eric's dad, also makes it clear of like, I work a lot. I work 6 days a week. I don't even golf anymore. Right. And this kind of making it clear of like,
I don't even know my kid.
Right. I don't know as much about him as I thought I did.
Right.
And so, like, you get the feeling like this is a truly reflective moment for both the dads.
Yeah.
And probably for both the moms. They were like, we probably saw this coming, and we could have avoided this probably, but what can we do?
Right. Because they're good kids.
Yeah. Well, there's always...
Which the moms say frequently throughout the movie.
But I will say, I think they had more trust in their children.
Right.
And knew that they were going to come home.
Yeah.
And if something really, like, if they were truly in danger, I think they thought that, well, we've raised our kids well enough to know how to get out of that.
But where I stand is that they don't teach Hallie that.
Oh, I don't disagree with you on that.
Like, they don't teach her how to get out of bad situations because the Secret Service can save her.
Yes, probably. But anywho, yeah, they go to get their beatings, and it makes it clear that Eric's dad is very mad at him and
Yes.
not happy with him whatsoever.
But he also wants to build their relationship
Yes,
up.
after he's done being grounded, he wants to build up their relationship. He wants to go do things with him. Mm-hmm. I mean, honest to goodness, I will share just real quick that one time I got grounded from activities that I really enjoyed, and I spent that time of being grounded with the person that grounded me, my mom, and we had a phenomenal week. Like, after a few days, like, I don't know, I guess she forgot that she was mad at me, and we just spent time together and just laughed and giggled and played games and went out to dinner together, like, just the two of us. Like, so even though, like, I got punished and I got something taken away, what I received in that time with her was so much better
Right.
than what I would have gotten just keep doing what I was doing.
Right.
So, like, there is time with being grounded that, like, he could have spent time with him doing something specific, you know?
Right.
Being like, hey, you're grounded. That also means we're going fishing.
Right.
Hey, you're grounded. We're going to go golfing.
Right.
And you're not going to like it.
You're going to hate it.
Right. But, yeah, so both of them go home. Both of them are dealing with their groundings.
But both of the families established that they want to make changes
Yes.
too.
Well, the parents realize that they've made poor choices.
Mm-hmm.
Both of the youth realize they made poor choices.
Yes.
And the little girl is just like, I'm good as I am.
I'm good. I'm
Like,
just gonna eat something.
yeah, I'm just hungry, so just let me
Right.
eat, and I don't care.
Because, like, the president realizes that he needs to take more initiative in his family life.
Yes.
And not be so passive.
Right. He still has to be dad.
Yeah, he still has to be dad and president.
Yes. And he needs to protect his daughter at his work.
Yes. And have family time.
Yeah.
Because that's not something that they do.
Yeah, so they get the car out of the impound lot because we didn't talk about this before, but the red car got stolen by people that were stealing stuff that night.
Yeah.
They actually went to the White House at one point.
Yeah, and they were super excited to meet the president. These burglars.
Yes.
As our son called
he
it.
gets the car out of the impound lot, and as they're driving away, he goes, "That's a really nice jacket you
Really
got
nice
on
jacket.
there."
It looks kind of expensive.
Yeah.
But I used the credit card. You said to use it for emergencies. That's not an emergency. And he wrecks the Beamer.
Yeah. Didn't you see the stop sign? Yeah. So then the next thing we know is that Duncan is paying out aggressively
Paying out his $100
Yes.
to his friends.
Did you like seeing those old $10 bills?
I know, right?
So funny.
Yeah, not those crisp money that we're used to with the
Different
watermarks.
change of colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
The old $10 bills from the 90s.
Yeah. For those of you that are too young, there used to be different type of bills out because
They were actually green.
yeah, they were actually all of them were green.
Money's not really green much anymore.
No, well, they changed it so that way it makes it harder to.
Watermark.
Yes. So anywho, he's in school, and all of a sudden he gets pulled out of class.
By the Secret Service.
The president and Duncan end up having a
Yeah,
conversation.
the president shows up to Duncan's high school, and they have a conversation
Yeah.
about how, hey, Duncan's a good kid.
Yeah.
And the president is okay with his daughter seeing him.
Yeah. He would give permission again for them to go on another date, and basically kind of said like, hey, my daughter likes you, and I'm not going to get in the way of that.
Right.
But you do have to follow some rules.
Yes. He tells him, and he's really thankful for, because Hallie has told her dad everything, that Duncan...
Everything was my fault. We didn't do anything. She told me everything. Oh.
So, and she told her dad how Duncan defended her and protected her against that Steve guy.
Well, it also would probably say that, like, she also informed him of, like, I forced him to
Right.
go to the store, spend the money we spent. Like, none of the things we did that were inappropriate were on him. If it was up to
Right.
him, we would have gone to his school dance,
Right.
and that would have been it.
Yes.
But I was the one that forced it.
So, the president, says to him, if you ever need anything, you just let me know.
Right.
And, Duncan makes good on that immediately by helping out his dad.
Yep.
And president calls his dad's boss.
Yep.
And says,
He needs to go golfing with him.
and Mr. Fletcher. So the three of them are going golfing on Saturday.
Yeah.
And his dad becomes vice president of whatever things he does.
Yeah. So we go to Duncan, driving
into
up to the White House. Yeah. At the gate. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Good to see you.
Still getting wanded down.
Right. Well, we could imagine that this is like the first date that they've been on since then. It's probably like, I don't know, fifth, fourth,
Right.
something like
'Cause
that. Like
one of the Secret Service agents makes a comment of, aren't you used to this by now? Or
right.
like
So it's
getting wanded.
been enough dates where like it's
Or maybe he's just gone over and hung out with her.
right, and that could also
Or their
be the,
family, because they seem to like.
right. It's been like enough time in between though that
Right.
like he's used to coming to the White House.
Right. And, spoiler alert, his dad, I don't even think we touched on the fact that Mr. Fletcher was not a fan of the president
No,
at all.
he had a bumper sticker for the other guy.
And but now he's a re-elect Richmond.
Yeah.
So they go out. They're going for a date.
Yes, they're officially going out on a date, and you see him pull it away, and all of
I'm
a
so
sudden,
glad they trust us to go out on a date.
and all of a sudden you see two
Two police cars pull in front.
two Secret Service cars, and then two pull behind them, and then you also see a
helicopter flying around.
and it's just such a great ending to the movie. Of
My date with the president's daughter.
Let's start. Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's the song. That's the only little bit we've ever sung to each other. It's just "My Date with the President's
It's
Daughter."
aggressively
Oh,
played
yeah.
throughout the movie.
It is. It's aggressively. Everything about this movie is aggressive. The moms are aggressively subdued. The dads are aggressively anxious and frustrated.
Yeah. The sister is an aggressive eater.
Yes, everything is aggression. So that was
My date with.
My Date with the President's Daughter.
Can I say my fun fact about?
Yes,
the
I was
final
gonna
scene?
say we should get to our deep dives real
Okay,
quick.
go ahead.
So
People, 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 people. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
yes, you may get to your first one. Do you want this back, or do you?
No, I remember it.
Okay, go ahead.
So my fun fact is the final scene is actually in. It cannot be possible that is DC that they are driving through.
No.
For their date, because it is showing skyscrapers in the buildings. And so the skyline is actually too tall for DC because building codes in Washington, D.C. dictate that the tallest building can only be the Capitol building, which is 287 feet. Aside from the Washington Monument, which is not really a building, everything else must be shorter than the Capitol building. So those skyscrapers in the end of the movie cannot be Washington, D.C. by any means because they are too tall
Correct.
for the building code.
Yeah, most of the filming was done in Canada, so you're right. It cannot be possible.
No.
So a couple other little deep dives real quick. That painting that you see of JFK at the beginning of the movie in the White House is a real painting that is in the White House collection. It was painted by Aaron Schickler in 1970s. And it is officially a part of the White House collection. So either it is a copy that they got for the movie, like someone painted it for them or painted another one like it, or potentially they got it or had access to the White House. They didn't I couldn't actually find out if they officially did film in the White House or not, but it is.
I mean, I doubt it.
I doubt it too, but I'm just saying, like, this painting is in the White House. Like
is that in the Hall of Presidents?
It could be. Technically, every single president has the right to decorate the White House as they see fit.
Right.
So, like when we went to the White House, Obama was the president at the time. So all of the pictures that were up there were a lot of times pictures of him and things that he and his family were doing, or presidents that inspired him. And so it could be that JFK is just one of the presidents that inspires.
I mean, there is, regardless of the president, the one hall that you're allowed into, like in the tour, where there is paintings of every president.
Yeah. And busts of a lot of the presidents, too, are all over it.
Yes.
So the song, My Date with the President's Daughter, was written by a band called Presidents of the United States. Sometimes they go by POTUS or,
That's amazing.
U.S. Press. But yeah, it's a band that formed in 1993 out of Seattle. This is the same year as Boy Meets World was established. So it's a really quick song, but that little quickness, is throughout this whole movie. So presidents' children normally, from what I saw, a lot of the girls go to Sidwell Friends School. I've actually found a website where it lists all the different schools that all of them go to, and for the most part, if you're a daughter of the president, this is the school you've gone to. Like, both Obama girls went there, Chelsea Clinton went there, Ronald Reagan's daughter went there as well.
Is it an all-girls school?
It might be. I didn't get to look deeper into it because the episode of the thing we were watching ended. So I was like, we need to get moving. I don't have time for this. But, it could be an all-girls school. Either way, there are some all-girls schools that it could be. Who knows? This is the type of school, though, that is going to need high security. And that's probably why it's a consistent school for presidents.
Well, it's probably not just presidents' kids, like different politicians, like who live in the D.C. area, or like their kids probably go there.
Yep. Well, and also there are other people like...
Well, high up, like, who work for, like, the FDA or...
Yes, exactly. So, like, there's people who work for different branches of the government that a lot of these kids probably are coming from.
Right. Military, Pentagon, like, there's
a lot of DC people that have kids and they have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
This is probably one of those schools.
Yeah.
But I think that's all I have as far as a deep dive is concerned. So,
another fun fact is that Will Friedle was 21 when this was filmed. And what's her face? Hallie.
Yeah, Elizabeth.
Was 18.
Yes.
So that's,
Yes, slight age gap, but not a big.
No, but not a gross one.
No, it's not a gross. Although I will say that she does play Missy Robinson, who is someone who hits on his TV brother. So, there is that thing, especially because, like, right now we're in season 1 where Eric refers to his brother quite often as a fetus. So technically she's about the same age as Topanga, really.
Also, fun fact, Danielle Fishel, thank you, sorry, Topanga auditioned to play the president's daughter.
No.
She did. That was on IMDb whenever I was reading
Shut up.
She clearly did not get it.
I know, but how
crazy would it
They
be?
probably wouldn't cast her because of how weird that would look oh my gosh, could you imagine this movie and the scandal that would be?
Let's just imagine this movie as Topanga and Eric.
Talk about the knick-knack cut right there. Whew, that just
blew your mind.
Something. Well, why don't we talk about how about we give this thing a grade? So normally for a Boy Meets World, we have our different categories of A through F, and let's not go based on the standards of Boy Meets World standards. Let's just take this from the realm of this is a made-for-TV movie from the 90s.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly. So what would you rate this movie?
I mean, it gets to me nostalgia-wise because I watched it. I'm pretty sure I watched it when it came out on The Wonderful World of Disney.
I guarantee you we both watched this the first night it was available. Because that's the thing you did as a kid. You had the special movies that were coming out.
Like the Sunday night movies.
Yes.
And I probably watched it every time that, maybe not every time, but and anytime it came on the Disney Channel back in the day.
Yep.
So it does bring up some good nostalgia as a 29-year-old. It's a little icky at points to watch, but I'd give it a B-.
Yep. That's exactly where I was going to go. I'm going with a B-.
Right.
Because, and that's the thing, is it's mostly a nostalgic pop for us. Like, there's things as an adult that I go, this is wrong, and I'm not okay with this. The more I learn, I'm not okay with this. I would be really interested in the Topanga Eric cut of this movie. But yeah, there's a lot to this that drags it down, but I had fun with it.
Right.
So I enjoyed it. Is this something
it still makes me laugh.
It still makes me laugh. It's not something we're going to try to watch again, especially because it was kind of hard for us to watch.
We had to watch it on YouTube.
And it was not the best situation for us. But
it was not the greatest quality.
Not great quality at all, but it was what it was.
Right. But whenever we were talking about what to watch, it was the first thing that came to my mind.
First thing that came up, and we were like, let's just do it.
Something that Boy Meets World
Yep.
actor had been in otherwise.
Yep.
I mean,
so what would you say you learned from this movie episode, whatever this is?
Well, as a parent, you need to be very upfront with your children about safety, and if you get into trouble, regardless of who your parents are, you need to have an out plan, like a safety net. Like this Secret Service could not be her safety net the whole time.
Yes.
Both of their parents needed to be more on top of.
Well, I will say that what I learned, I think the dads both learned this at the same time, I think, I don't know my kid as well as I think I know them.
Right.
And so I think the thing I learned is that even though our son is young, I need to make the effort to constantly keep trying to learn more about him.
And as a family, keep trying to build
and spend that time together.
Build on the relationship as a family.
Exactly. And I just...
it doesn't stop.
Right. And just because I work hard and just because I have long hours does not mean I can't make the time for him.
Exactly.
And make the time for a family. And then, I know we try to do that, and sometimes we get lost and not able to. But, I believe we're going to be the parents that are like, no, it's family game night. And you can invite people with you, but it's family game night.
Right.
Like, you're not going somewhere else.
No.
Or it's family movie night. We are spending time as a family.
As a slight story from Christmas for us is we were taught we do family Christmas pajamas. And we were talking, and you and I had established that, oh no, we're still going to do it when our kids are teenagers. And I said something to our son about, well, when you're a teenager, you're still going to do family Christmas pajamas with us. And he goes, no, I'm not. And I said, no, you are.
Listen, all we're going to ask for is put the PJs on for the unwrapping of gifts and picture. That's all you wear it for that day, fine. But I know one thing.
Loss.
Once I'm in comfy clothes, I stay in those comfy clothes. Unless we have somewhere we absolutely have to be, like for our job, which is what happened this year. Well, this is officially an episode. So I just want to thank you.
Dad and Mom Meets World.
Yes, of Dad and adjacent Dad Mom Meet World. I just want to thank you for taking this time to record with me and for having some fun with me.
You're
and I know this was kind of silly and a little awkward, but you did a really good job, and I'm really proud of you. And I'm hoping that, we can just keep doing this, having fun and joy, and maybe the next time that we end up doing one of these again, maybe we'll have you on to, be a part of this, or maybe we'll have a mom's review, a thing,
Maybe. I don't know if you want to trust Kelly and I to do that.
I would trust the two of you to talk. I would not trust the two of you to be responsible for the recording stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah. So we'll add in all the other stuff later on. But this has been a fun, weird episode of Dads Meet World. And we thank you so much for listening. And we'll see you next time, good looking.
Oh, thanks, good looking.
What were we going to say first?
I don't know.
Oh, let me try that again because you kind of interrupted me.
Okay.
So, all right. Thanks for listening. And as always, we'll see you next time, good looking.
Back at you, good looking.
Oh, would you like a dad joke, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. That's normally how we end it, but I wasn't prepared, but hold on.
Wait, can I do the joke?
Do you want to do a dad joke?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a knock-knock joke.
Oh my gosh. Yeah?
You start.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Wow. Speaking of another thing that hasn't died out over the last 12 years. Romance may have gone away a little bit, but not that joke.
It's a terrible joke.
It is. That's definitely a dad joke. What I can't wait for is the next time you record and you go, oh, can I do a dad joke?
And I do the
that
same one. Because they won't remember.
It's kind of like the orange you glad I didn't say banana. And my dad just kept saying that over and over again during our game. Oh, it's on orange. Oh,
I almost did that joke.
orange you glad I didn't say banana? I think I may have done that one.
I thought you did. That's why.
Yeah, I think I did, but... All right, this has been an episode, and my battery's about to die, so hopefully Brett's enjoying this. Goodbye!
You can find Dads Meet World on Facebook, Twitter, and probably a few other places just by searching for Dads Meet World. Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios. Tell your story.
You want to say something to Brett for the bloopers?
Like what?
What?
I already went bleh, like talking about the cat.
People.
Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
Yes. I have to take a picture of this. Are you comfy like that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just the cat on Sarah's pregnant belly while we're finishing up.
He likes to snuggle on my belly because the baby kicks him. Sorry. Our
Go ahead.
child is kicking me.
Is he like kicking the mic stand?
Yeah.
That's funny.
At one point, the mic stand was like moving. I kept kicking it.
He's punching it.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
So, yeah, those are our bloopers for this time because I got the mic stand on my belly and I got a baby kicking it.
Bam, bam, bam.
Punching it.
Oh, what is the I'm currently blanking. I had like the
1600.
I'm very proud of you.
He's getting wanded down.
Who is the person in the White House who is literally in charge of the building? Secretary of what? Why am I not remembering this right now? This is going to bloopers.
What?
There is a position
What?
specifically for like,
Buddy. What you doing? Hi.
chief of staff.